Good day, everyone. I would like to welcome you all to this e-taster lesson on Hotel and Leisure Facilities Management. This is a diploma on Hotel Leisure Facilities Management HLFM, where students will be trained in three major focus areas. The first area will be hospitality management, where students will learn how to manage the front of the house in institutions such as hotels or integrated resorts. The second area will be facilities management, where students will learn how to operate and manage building facilities like air conditioning system or swimming pool or even electrical switchboards. And in the third focus area, students will be learning about business management, where they'll be learning about planning, leading, organizing, and controlling businesses to achieve profitability and also to take care of the well-being of the people under their charge. So in this diploma, in year 2, we have a module called Principles of Management, where we are using an e-book where students will be learning in an interactive way from the e-book. We want to have a look at how students are achieving this by having a look at the e-book and also having a glimpse of the lesson. After the lesson, students will also do a self-evaluation for themselves as how they fare as a leader and what is their leadership style. To take us through this e-taster lesson, we have our year 2 students, Wong Lishan and James Edward Tan Chenting, to take us through this lesson. I would like to welcome them for this lesson. Thank you.
Hello, fellow students and parents. I'm Wong Lishan, and today with me I have...
Hello, I'm James Edward Tan.
And we are from the School of Design and Environment. So we are year 2 students from Hotel and Leisure Facilities Management. And in year 2, we have this module called Principles of Management.
So under this module, we learned about planning, organizing, leading, directing, and controlling of the various resources, including people within an organization.
So today we'll be sharing with you a mini lesson which is about managers' appropriate use of power and influence. So without further ado, let's get started.
So here's our mini lesson overview. So first, we'll go through the content that we'll be using today. Next is our role play, where we will practice our knowledge on power and influence tactics. Thirdly, we will do a self-assessment as manager, where I'll find out what Li Xuan's source of power is. Fourth, we will do a manager's hot seat, which is an interactive ability where we have to apply our knowledge. And lastly, we will do another self-assessment as manager to find out what Li Xuan's influence tactics are.
All right, so here are 5 sources of power. Firstly, we have legitimate power. This is from managers' former positions within the organization. Next, we have reward power. This is from managers' authority to reward their subordinates. And then we have coercive power. This is from managers' authority to punish their subordinates. Fourthly, we have expert power, and this is from one's specialized information or expertise. And lastly, we have referent power. This is from one's personal attraction, which is strong and visionary leadership. So next, we will talk about the various influence tactics that can be used by the leaders. Firstly, we have rational persuasion. This is trying to convince someone with reason, logic, or facts.
Next, we have inspirational appeals, which is trying to build enthusiasm by appealing to others' emotions, ideals, or values.
And then we have consultation. This is getting others to participate in planning, decision-making, and changes.
Next, we have ingratiation, which is getting someone in a good mood prior to making a request.
While for personal appeals, this is referring to friendship and loyalty when making a request or asking a friend to do a favor.
Next, we have exchange, which is making explicit or implicit promises and trading factors.
Moving on, we have correlation. This is getting others to support your efforts to persuade someone.
Next, we have pressure, which is demanding compliance or using intimidation or threats.
And lastly, we have legitimating tactics. This is basing a request on authority or rights, organization rules or policies, or explicit or implied support from superiors. So now let's do a role play to apply what we learned in a scenario.
So first, we'll be doing a role play on my sources, power, and influence tactics. So role play is an activity that will put us in a real life scenario, and we have to put us in situations where we can apply what we have learned. So let's begin.
All right, let's start.
Give it a bit. So here is the role play, and here's some context. Magnolia Park recently introduced the newest thrill ride to its amusement park, the Inferno. This coaster features some of the fastest speeds and highest drops in the world. However, the roller coaster has also been having a lot of safety issues as well. You are a park engineer meeting with the park manager and Inferno ride operator, with the hopes of persuading them to take action before something horribly bad happens at the park. Can you save the park's reputation and possibly lives? And here you can see the learning objectives are to understand sources of power, to understand sources of influence, and to evaluate a dilemma using power and influence tactics. So let's start the ride.
All right, let's go. So here we can choose a little avatar to represent ourselves. So for James, I feel like the top right-hand corner one suits the most.
Yes, Yushan, you really know me. So you can see that Selena is the park manager, Kevin is the Orfino ride operator, and we have the narrator. So let's play.
So throughout this journey or activity, they'll be asking questions and we'll be using our knowledge about power and influence to answer these questions.
So as you see there as the scenario progresses, they'll give us some context, and you can see here, this is the Inferno safety incidents that happened in the previous months. So here's our first question. Before you answer, Kevin, let's identify what source of power you have in this situation. Keep in mind, as a park engineer and Kevin both report to Selena, so which of the following is most likely your primary source of power? As I am a park manager, I believe my source of power is expert.
Right.
I can see that you will tell you whether you're correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. So you see as goals continue, the more context is revealed. So here's our next question. It looks like you have your hands full here. What influence tactics you would utilize to overcome Selena's and Kevin's objections? Overcome both of them. I believe it shouldn't be legitimate tactic. I believe it should be rational persuasion. Yes, it's
I
correct.
agree with you too.
Thank you. So what is example, or what is the following would be an example of rational persuasion? This is rational persuasion. I believe we providing Selena with a study of the infernal structure showing track misalignment.
Yes, that makes sense.
Thank you. So you see as it progresses, more context is given, and you see here, this is the infernal structure study. So here's the data. So you can see, yep, here's more experience. So now here's our next question. So based on your expertise, you are confident that this is not operator assistant error and the tracks are getting worse and worse. So what influence tactics should I use? Now I believe now would be a legitimate tactic. So now here's the question. Which will be the following will be an example of legitimate tactic? I believe it will be providing Selena with park operation regulations that provide a park engineer with authority to shut down a ride that is deemed unsafe by an engineer. So you can see it goes on, there's more context that comes in. And at the end, they'll give us our overall score. So you see that I have 100% as my overall score. It also gives us a score on how whether we applied our source of power or our influence tactics effectively. As I've done so it gave me 100% for both of them. So next we'll move on to our next activity.
All right, so the next thing we do in Principle of Management lesson is we do self-assessment as a manager. All right, so the first exercise you'll be doing is what kind of power do I prefer? So there'll be questions prepared and assess our readiness on my source of power. So at the end of this, I will find out what my source of power and the kind of power that I prefer. So yes, let's get started. So here they will have a set of questions prepared for me, and I will answer based on strongly disagree to strongly agree. So to influence others, I would prefer to increase their pay level. Yes, I agree. Make them feel valued. Strongly agree. Give undesirable choice. Nope. Make them feel like approve them. Yes. Agree. Make them feel that they have commitments to me. Neither agree or disagree. Make them feel personally accepted. Yes, I strongly agree. Make them feel important. Yes. Give them good technical suggestion. Yes. Make work difficult for them. No, no, no. Share my experience on training. Yes, I would love to do that. Make things unpleasant. No. Make being at work distasteful. No. Influence they are getting a pay raise. Yes, I agree. Make them feel that they should satisfy. Yes, I think so though. Provide them with some related job advice. Yes. Provide them with special benefits. Influence they're getting a promotion. Agree, I agree. Give them the feeling that they have responsibilities to fulfill. Yes. Provide them with leader. Yes, I would love to do that. And make them recognize that they have tasks to accomplish. All right, so I'll be clicking next. All right, so here's the result of my self-assessment test for the power of what kind of power do I prefer. So here, oh wow. So it shows that I have a very high level of expert power. It's 20 upon 20 here. And for reference power also. However, for cohesive power, I have a rather low score here.
So yes, I agree with these results, Yushan. I believe that you have more of an expert power.
Yes, so interpreting this. So action steps is that it says that I should carefully reflect on the 5 sources of power and the scores that I receive on the self-assessment. So it says that successful managers know when to use and when not to use and a certain kind of powers. All right, so they say that expert and reference power is more likely to lead to feelings of trust. All right, so they'll talk about the type of power that you belong to. All right, so now moving on to our next activity, and James will be taking over.
Thank you, Yushan. So next, we'll be moving to our manager's hot seat. So manager's hot seat is an interactive activity that puts us in the manager's hot seat, where we will apply our knowledge and skills to make decisions on the spot. So let's begin.
All right, let's start.
So before we, So before we answer the questions, here's some context. Leadership at American Express. How do leaders use their power and influence to get results? The goal of this video case is to apply your knowledge and leadership in evaluating the access of Ken Chenault, the former CEO of American Express. Chenault is one of America's most respected CEOs and ran American Express from 2001 until 2018. He is third African-American CEO of a Fortune 500 company and is known for his unique leadership style. So let's watch a video. So give me one moment.
Ken Chenault is one of America's most respected CEOs, the former boss of no less a corporate titan than American Express. This morning, CBS News special correspondent James Brown talks with Chenault about his road to the corner office.
It's a big day at American Express headquarters in New York. After 37 years, this is CEO Ken Chenault's last day.
Thank you.
And thousands of employees have shown up to say goodbye.
Ken has been an incredibly empathetic and amazing leader.
Chenault is a rock star to the green card faithful. And their preternaturally calm leader stands up for hours,
He's a celebrity.
patiently taking selfies. He admits that all of this can be a bit overwhelming.
To hear people say, "You changed my life, you are an inspiration," how much better does it get in life?
And what a life it has been. At the time of his retirement in February, Ken Chenault was one of just 4 African Americans running a Fortune 500 company.
Someone told me, I can't conceive of an African American ever running a major division at American Express. And my response was, then you haven't met many African Americans.
He's a class act, very simply. He's the kind of person that you'd love to have as trustee of your will, or marry your daughter, or be your next door neighbor, or whatever it might be.
Warren Buffett has been Chenault's friend for over 20 years. Buffett is also the largest shareholder in American Express.
You called him the gold standard of CEO leadership. Pretty high praise. What did you mean by that?
Well, I meant that you couldn't do better than to look at not only what Ken has accomplished, but the way he's done it.
Born in 1951, Ken Chenault grew up in a mostly African-American neighborhood on Long Island, New York. The third of 4 children, his father was a dentist and his mother a dental hygienist.
How would you describe your upbringing, your childhood?
I had 2 parents who really cared about us. I'll never forget the headmaster of the school telling me this story when I was about to graduate from high school, saying when your mother was investigating our school, she said, I want an environment where if one of my children has the opportunity, they can be president of the United States.
He attended private school and then went on to Bowdoin College in Maine.
Very turbulent times when we were in college.
Yes.
What kind of influence did what America was going through at that time have on you?
It had a profound influence on me. I received opportunities as a result of Brown v. Board of Education. To be there and to witness and to be involved in the civil rights movement was very important. But at the same time, I wanted to be open to people from all over the world.
His worldview expanded when he went on to Harvard Law School. And while there, he met his future wife, Catherine.
One of the things that attracted me to Ken was his intelligence, the way he treats other people, and his integrity. Those are the qualities my mother had told me to look for.
They married in 1977. Kathy became a lawyer as well.
I had no idea when I was in law school that I was going to pursue a career in business. What I did know is that I wanted to be a leader.
In 1981, Chenault was recruited by American Express, and he took on a big challenge, running a division that was in trouble.
They were losing money. And I really was able to put together a team and figure out how to motivate people to do things that they didn't think were possible. And we went from $100 million in sales and losing money to over $700 million in sales. And it was one of the most formative experiences of my career.
That began a meteoric rise at Amex, propelling Chenault to president and COO in 1997, and then into the corner office in 2001.
What was the first thing that you did when you got the news?
I really reflected on what it meant for me, for the company, for African Americans. I really saw it as a privilege.
Just months later, his leadership was tested on 9/11. American Express lost 11 employees and suffered major damage to its headquarters.
It was a horrific tragedy for the world and for America. And I assembled all of our employees in the area to Madison Square Garden.
Our company is sound. Our hearts are even stronger. And our minds will get clearer. We will overcome.
American Express rebuilt.
Wall Street watched Washington with shock and fear.
Amex was tested again in the Great Recession of 2008.
It was a scary time for anybody running a big financial institution. He kept his head while others were losing theirs, and I never worried about Ken taking us through a very stormy sea.
Chenault was CEO of American Express for 17 years. Now at 67, he is taking his leadership to Silicon Valley as a venture capitalist and board member of Facebook and Airbnb.
Has technology and digital done enough to change the broader society? I think there's more to do there.
For the Chenaults and sons Kenneth and Kevin, it was an emotional farewell. American Express employees from around the world gathered to show their appreciation.
Every country we went to, people were crying. It was emotional. I was crying, you know.
What did that kind of reaction from the employees say to you about your husband? No, that's all right. I'm loving this. Go ahead, Kathy. What did it say?
Her husband held it together for the most part, but on that last day, even he got a bit emotional.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity of my life. I love you.
All right, so here's the first question. Chenault was a celebrity at American Express and is known for transforming the lives of many of his employees. Based on this perception, which influence tactics could Chenault most successfully use? I definitely not pressure. I believe it would be inspirational appeals. So, thank you. Sorry, give me one moment. Sorry. There we go. So the next question, Chenault was able to influence employees in a way that they pursued American Express goals over their self-interest. So what type of leadership does this portray? It's definitely not less friends. It's definitely not passive. I believe it'll be transformational.
Yes, I agree with you, James.
Thank you. So based on how attracted his followers were to his vision, what source of power did Chenault have at American Express? What source of power did he have? I believe it's not reward, and I believe it's not expert. I believe be referent.
Moving on to our last question.
As the attacks of September 11, American Express lost 11 employees and suffered major damage to its headquarters. Chenault gathered its employees in Madison Square Garden and declared that the company was sound and will overcome the tragedy. Based on the revised path goal theory, what style of leadership behavior does this represent? Is that I believe is not support, and I believe it's not path goal clarifying. I believe it would be achievement oriented.
Well, let's submit and see the results.
Yes. Oh yes, I got everything correct. Okay, thank you.
Oh, wow.
So now moving on to our next activity.
Alright, so now I'll be doing the other influence tactic self-assessment of the manager. So yeah, let's get started. This is similar as the previous one, but this time on the other topic. So I try to persuade others by using reason, logic, and facts. Yes, I agree. I try to put enthusiasm for my ideas and suggestion by appealing to others' emotion, ideas. Yes, I agree, strongly agree. I try to gain support for my ideas and suggestion by involving others in planning, making decisions, and implementing changes. Yes. I like to compliment people, use flattery or humor before. Yes, I agree. That's so me. I ask people to go along with me based on friendship and loyalty. Yeah. Yes, agree. I attempt to persuade someone either by telling or suggesting that I'll do something for them in return. Agree or neither agree or disagree. I try to get multiple people to support my ideas and ask them, yes. I compliment people and demand they comply with my preferred. Disagree. I use my position, policy to persuade. No. All right, next. So here is my score. So it says that I have a moderate use of influence tactics, which is 33 over 45. All right, so as we have gone through just now, here are the list of the influence tactics. And here are the action steps. So they say that research shows effective influence tactics can be learned, and that if I want to improve ability to influence others, should do through learning and practice. However, no matter what influence tactic that I use, there are certain personal characteristics that can help me to influence others. So yeah. All right. So right now, we have come to the end of this. We have come to the end of this mini lesson. So James will do a summary of what we've learned today.
So the summary is this mini lesson is that we've seen how the manager's appropriate use of power and influence have become an effective leadership, and how they have managed is a very powerful tool for effective leadership. So now, we have come to the end of our mini lesson.
So we hope you have learned something new from our mini lesson today. So yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Lishan and James Edward Tan, for your enthusiastic sharing and taking us through the e-taster lesson. This was just a sample of the lesson from an ebook. I would like to mention here that the Polytechnic is always exploring various pedagogies to give the best learning experience for our students. I would like to take this opportunity to wish all the students and parents here all the best. Thank you very much.